flip a switch and say, well, it's okay now. And so there is an adjustment in all parts of you. And the old soul is the one who feels it first. And so the discussion in this channeling, in this evening, for those who can hear my voice, is about the mystery of opening the door. A door that is there so strongly separating you from the corporeal self to the innate. So let's back up a minute. And let's go slow, my partner. Dear ones, we have given information about the 9 energies of the human being, and 3 of them are in one group, 3 of them in another, and 3 in another. You see the 3s everywhere. There is the human group, there is the soul group, there is the support group. We want to talk about the one group tonight, which is the human group. And the 3 energies we have talked about is human consciousness, something called the higher self, and a very mysterious one called innate. Now, last evening, we gave a full disclosure of what innate is. We gave information that was beyond anything we have given before. We've even given it a name. Innate is the second brain. For the first brain is the one that you use in 3D. And that brain has synapse. It has memory. It has logic. It is wired for survival. Innate is another brain that is not logical. It is conceptual. It is not linear. It is dynamically quantum. Always changing. Always working in a way that you're not used to. And to your perception, you stand in your 3-dimensional corporeal body and you ask the question, Dear Kryon, how can I now get through to my cells? How can I talk to my cells? You've talked about all these things, minding the Akash, the bridge to the innate, the smart body versus the logical body, all of these things, and I stand at a door I cannot penetrate. And you'll be right. You'll be right. And now it's time to penetrate it. And so we start the discussion of what it's like, what's needed, and I'm going to use my partner as an example. And he's not going to like it. But I'm going to show you what happened to him and what he experienced because he had to go through the door. Now, right away, you picture a door that will not open. If you could open it, you'd be in touch with your intelligent cellular self, the innate, the one you muscle test to, the one that knows what you're allergic to, the one that knows how you should eat or not eat, the one that knows everything that's going on in your body, even if you don't. We mentioned last night, you could have a raging disease in your body and your brain won't tell you. You'll just cruise along as if nothing has happened, and your brain will only respond with pain. The innate, that is your intelligent body, the second brain, the conceptual one, knows the instant the disease is there. Isn't it odd that you have to muscle test to ask your body about what you're allergic to, perhaps? And your brain won't know. That ought to tell you that there is a shared intelligence in your body. But in 3D, with your DNA working the way it is right now, you are only using the 3-dimensional part, the analytical, the intellect. You're using that which computes and sees, stores, and has the memory. It's the survival brain that you're using. And it's been good enough till now. That's what we want to discuss. What are you supposed to do? What's the difference between them? Let's look at that first. The goal is to open the door. You know that. It's not easy. When the entire box of your survival and everything you've ever known doesn't include it. Doesn't even know about it. It's mysterious. How do you do it? Let us examine the difference between what we would call the two brains. The one you're used to, we will say, is the intellectual brain. The one that's got you to the place where you are, the one that you can think anything you want to, the one that is scientific, the one that explores the universe with your imagination, all of those things. But there's something it can't do. It cannot get into the conceptual, multidimensional part of your DNA. There is no connection between the human synaptical, three-dimensional brain and innate. There just isn't. That's why you doubt even the things that I might be saying now, but you know there's a smart body. You muscle test it to find out. How do you put them together? The answer is you don't. You acknowledge that there's two, and you acknowledge that one is very different than the other. The intellectual will not be able to think its way through this, for there is no connection. There's no bridge yet between what we would call the two brains. So there will be those who would leave the room trying to think their way through this puzzle, and it isn't going to work. So let's talk about the other brain. This other brain of yours, represented mostly by the innate intelligence of your body and the higher self together, is totally and completely conceptual. There are no linear moving parts. How do you talk to that? How do you work with that? So I'm going to give you some concepts. I'm going to tell you how my partner did it and what he found out. And a couple of the things that he had to do in order to get to where he is now. It's interesting that you see a door that you can't open, dear ones. It's really interesting. The first thing I want you to do is to eliminate the door. It's not there, not really. The door seems to be there because your linear brain cannot think about it. So it's a barrier. Doesn't know what to do. It's a barrier. So it becomes a door. It's not. So the first step is to eliminate the concept of the door. If the door is missing, everything you want, all the communication that you would like, the concepts of the higher self, the love of God, all of the things that you desire to touch and feel and be, let them show as though there were no door. That's the first step. The innate and the higher self use the tool that is quantum in your body that is least understood, intuition. It is a muscle that we are asking you to start to exercise and use, intuition. Now, some of you already know how to use it in marginal ways. But it is elusive in that it comes and goes quickly. And so what we say to you, because it does that, is trust first intuitive thought. And honor the fact that the first intuitive thought is often the highest communication innate has to you. First intuitive thought. Now, I want you to understand the concept we're about to present. Your higher self is connected to the whole of humanity, all of the souls on the planet. There is a connection. There is a connection of the higher self through the pineal into the other side of the veil. It is part of the whole. Therefore, it sees on a far grander scale than you possibly can. In a linear way, it's perched above you, looking at everything around you, things you cannot see. It is responsible for helping you with synchronicity. It pushes and pulls. Think for a moment. There are those here who only at the last moment had an intuitive flash to come. You know what that's like, don't you? And now you sit in the chair, and now you know why. You needed to be here. You needed to hear the things that were presented in the way they were presented. That's intuition at its best, and you honored it. Even some of you didn't plan on coming to the meeting, came anyway, because someone else had the intuition to invite you. It's the same. This is spirit at its best, working with the human at its best, with a conceptual way. No voices out of the sky, no writing on the wall. It comes into your brain as intuitive thought that's conceptual, so it does not linearize itself, ever. And so it comes as a flash, and it's gone. Second step, learn to recognize intuitive thought. Learn to hold it longer if you can. To stop and analyze what it was if you can. Because you must take the conceptual, intuitive part of your body, which is the innate brain, and work with it with the intellectual brain. And in order to do that, you've got to cognize it. You've got to see for what it is and understand it. It's not easy. It's not easy. Now, some of you have already done it, and you know, and we talked about this last night, and not in a comedic way. You've discovered you can use it in the guise of the parking angel. And honestly, between you and I, you're good at it. You really are. You live in an area where you need it, and you're good at it. And you involve this seeming outside source to find you a parking place because you cannot see the whole lot. And you trust it. And you'll turn left and you'll turn right until the space opens up. And you feel that you have used an energy that is beyond yourself, which you then call the parking angel. But you also understand at the intuitive level, do you not, that you just used your own intuition. Assigning it to an angel makes you feel better. And you know that's accurate. This is what we're talking about. So you do it on a level that is fun, but requires that you listen. And you do it in real time. Nobody tells you in advance where the space is going to be. You do it in real time. And you're so good at it, you'll do it again and again and again, and you'll become even better at it. This is first intuitive thought. Can you do it with your cellular structure? Can you talk to it in a way that my partner had to? He's had to do a number of things in his life that required that he learned intuitive thought and how to linearize the things in his life. I want to show you just one, perhaps two if there's time, and how it was presented to him and what he did with it. When Kryon first came into his life, and I was there, he didn't like it. He didn't like it because we used the innate to talk to him. And the only way we could get his attention was through emotion. Because there's no intellectualizing the love of God. And when he sat in the chair for the first time, he wept. And he didn't know why. He felt he had a whole body experience. He didn't know why. And his intellect got angry. And the anger was because he wasn't prepared for emotion when he didn't authorize it. And the intellect then got in the way. Because the emotion was something that he didn't expect or authorize or even want at the moment, but it came freely to him. We got his attention through his emotional self. That's the innate at its best. And so right away you see the mechanics of how this works. Not through thought, but through concepts, through emotions, through intuition. How do you talk to yourselves? And if you could, what are you going to say? So let's discuss my partner. We're going to give you two examples. I told my partner early on, I said, if you want to, you don't have to grow old as fast. And I want you to teach it. And so here we sit, teaching it. And he said to me, how? And I said, you got to talk to yourselves. And he says, how? That's the question you're asking too, right now. How are you going to open that door? There is no door. So now what's next? And I told him, if you start asking, Spirit is going to give you intuitive flashes that are answers to what you're asking for, and you're going to have to watch for the concepts. And he started getting them. He didn't know what to do with it. It's the first time we've told the story. He's uncomfortable because he wants story told. It's too simplistic. It shows his weakness. We gave him the picture of a telephone over and over. Over and over. Picture of a telephone. He didn't know what to do with it. You know what he did? He started picking up telephones and listening. How linear. And then he realized it's an internal telephone. I'm going to talk to myself. I've got to learn to pick up the internal telephone. And so he started visualizing picking up the phone and listening. And he got good at it. But every time he picked it up, there wasn't anything there. And he would listen, and he would listen. And he would say to me in meditation, I did everything I can think of. Now I understand it's a conceptual telephone. And I'm listening, and I'm not hearing anything at all. And we couldn't give him any answers. Got to do it for yourself. You got to figure it out. Pictures of a telephone. More and more. And then he got it. I can't talk to myself by listening to anything. And the next time he picked up the internal telephone and visualized it, he spoke in the phone. And he said, "Dear cellular structure, are you listening?" And the response he got immediately was chills and emotion. And if I could give you what truly happened, all the cells of his body were cheering and said, "It's about time we heard from the boss." And then I started telling him, I said, "Listen, your cellular structure ages automatically without your involvement with a rhythm that has even been described by biologists. It has to do with the moon, and it's built in. And it wouldn't matter if you were in a coma. It just does what it does automatically. It's on autopilot. You can intercept that autopilot anytime you want to by picking up the phone and telling them what you want them to do that is not autopilot. I hope you understand this. He got the concept. He started speaking in the phone. What is he going to tell cellular structure that's conceptual and not linear? But he figured out that following the moon cycle and aging and reproducing the cellular split is a linear process. So he told his cells to start counting every other day. That's the concept. To cut the aging down to half of what it was designed for. He started doing that 5 years ago. And now he sits before you, having aged 2 years. Having more energy than he's ever had in his life because he used the telephone. Is that too simple for you? No linear instructions. The concept, there is no door. Figure it out. It wants to talk to you in concepts and intuitive flashes and thoughts, and it's going to give you pictures. And with the pictures, you're going to have to figure out how the communication is going to work. Not all of you will get a telephone. Some of you are designed to talk to your innate directly. Your Akash has done it before, old soul, because you're shamanic. You've been doing it for years, you just forgot. Some of you are going to do it through sound and color. Some of you already are. Some of you are going to use energy to speak to your own body through processes you've learned that my partner never learned, has no idea about. He needed a telephone. He's an engineer. I'll tell you the second one. It's just as bizarre. Dear ones, what diet will make you enlightened? Well, there's a lot of books about it. And they all claim the same thing. You do this one, you'll be enlightened. Others have said, your body was never meant to eat this way, you should eat this way, and it will cleanse you in a way that spirit will honor yourselves differently. You're doing it wrong, you're saying. There's as many stories as there are books. I gave you the information. It's in the last book's transmission, which my partner calls Book 12. It's there. I'll give it to you again, and I gave it to my partner, and I gave it to him 2 years ago. I said, if you're going to use the telephone, and if you're going to talk to yourselves about not aging as fast, you're not going to have any luck if you're as heavy as you are. You're going to have to take some weight off. He didn't like that either. You mean in order to youth, I'm going to have less weight? Yes. It comes with the territory. It's going to enhance what the body is trying to do. You can't tell the body to do one thing and then float off and then do the opposite. You're going to have to lose weight. He asked how much. And there was no number because that's linear. enough. He had no concept. He said, how? And I said, Innate will tell you. You see, I don't have the answer for his body. His body has the answer for his body. Do you know this? And I'll just give it to you straight, dear ones. Your Akash, old soul, has got hundreds of lifetimes, and in many of them, you were exactly the right health. You were eating exactly the right food for your cellular remembrance and for that which you need today. And for many of you, it's not eating like an American. It would be like eating as you did in the past that enhanced your growth. And that's what the cells want. My partner found out. We gave him a picture. This is the first time we've told you this. He's not happy about this one either. The picture was of a menu. Like you would have in a restaurant. All folded lovely. That's what we gave him over and over. So what he tried to do in all linearity was open the menu. I mean, after all, you're given a menu. What do you do with it? You open it. Of course, he couldn't, because it's just in his imagination. It's just in his intuition. How do you open an intuitive thought of a menu? You can't. So what's it mean? He didn't know. He had no idea. And then he started thinking about it. And then he got it. I told you, did I not, that Innate can talk to you in very interesting ways. You can muscle test it. It's responsible for the chills of discernment. Those of you right now, some of you are feeling the fact that this is true. Perhaps it's even for you. Feel the chills. Your Innate is jumping up and down and saying, listen, 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 listen. And you feel the chills in your body. That is Innate doing its job for you. He got it. The next time he went to a restaurant, he opened the menu, ran his finger down the choices, and listened for the chills. Didn't tell anybody he was doing it either. He got them. He didn't necessarily like them, but he got them. Because he wanted so bad to have the chills over donut. Baked potato. And bread. And instead he got soup and salad. The meat of his choice, if he chose. Not much of it. And that was it. And here's what happened, and I want to tell you, because this, dear ones, again, your cellular structure wants this. You're not forcing something. It wants this. He started eating the things that he felt the chills for over and over and over. He still does to this day. And what eventually happened over time was not only did the weight come down, 26 pounds of it, but what happened next was he found he didn't need the chills anymore. He knew what to eat because his body craved it. And it didn't want the donut. And it didn't want the baked potato. And it didn't want the bread. And to this day, he pushes them away. He pushes them away not because he's a good boy. Because he knows his diet. Because his cellular structure just flat out doesn't want them. That's the promise. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? You are retraining your cellular structure to eat in the best way that your Akash remembers your best health. And then he asked me, can you tell me, Kryon, what my Innate gave me that worked so well? Where was I? And I said to him, right back to the beginning, when you were a runner in Lemuria. You didn't have a whole lot of meat, you had some. You had a whole lot of vegetation and beautiful soups. You're eating like a Lemurian and enjoying it yet again. And he smiled because he knew I was right. It worked. Concepts, intuition, and you never could intellectualize that, ever. The door that used to be there in his life is starting to crumble. He's going to work on some other concepts as well. And they will come slowly, and there'll be puzzles. But dear human being, this is the answer. Use the second brain. Sit in meditation and have the audacity to speak out loud to your cellular structure, and through your ears, it's going to hear you. Through your vibrations of intent, it's going to hear you. Give intuition back to it through human consciousness of love and compassion. Love yourself. And your cellular structure will cooperate more than ever. It's a new way of being human. It starts to talk to the parts that you never even thought you had, that will change you. And the disease that might be in you right now will withdraw and run the other way, because it's not in the program of the love of God. Problems you have, they can't survive in a new kind of human body. Your wisdom factor will go up. The consciousness that you have will see the earth differently. All of these things are related to removing the door and becoming who you came to be. It's not too soon for these things. They're hard. They're not linear. They're not what you expect. And all of you as old souls can do it. Every single one. It just depends on how much you want it. Some of you will choose not to in this lifetime, and it will become easier the next time around. The kids, some of them being born right now, are into this. They know it. They're listening. They're conceptual. They're using intuitive thought to guide their lives, much to the adults' consternation, because the adults want them to be linear. Do what they did. Go where they should. And the children are not doing it. Right now in the Middle East, right now, there are children who are refusing to be standard Israelis or standard Iranians or standard Palestinians. And instead they have chosen a new lifestyle of being the new human on earth that rejects war and hatred and history that means nothing to a new earth that will have no war. That's what's going on. And you're going to see it, maybe even in your lifetime. Can you see why we're excited about these things? We've gone far enough. It's time to leave. I challenge you to take these things and work with them. There's no structure. How do you feel about it? How about it? Instructions without structure? Let the structure be something you intuit. It will be perfect for you. Perfect for you. Old soul. And so it is.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Again, it may seem like the man in the chair, but not the most of you. I am in a family right now in your three-dimensional presence. You sit with me and I sit with you. And what this family has in common is that you're searching. And the search brings you to a place where you will sit and listen to those things which are advanced attributes of life. Where spiritually you are willing to think beyond that which is your reality. It makes you special. Special in this way, that not all of those who would be light workers on the planet would be willing to look beyond themselves in the way you are. And so you have spent the day doing things perhaps which are a bit against the grain of what you've been taught. Learning to listen to Spirit is one of them. Difficult, some cases impossible. You know who you are. Some of you have said fine, some of you said not for me. I know who you are. And there is no judgment of any of this. If you have to step out of your comfort zone, dear ones, it is difficult. And if you never step out of your comfort zone, the same number of angels walk out with you as walk out with the healer. But it allows me to give an advanced message. And for those who may be listening, who are not of the same kind of advancement spiritually as those in the room, this may seem strange indeed. The message this evening is not long, but it deals with profundities, those things which are beyond that which are normal in 3D, and beyond that which even you think about, beyond that which you have been taught, and often flies in the face of all logic to the logical thinker. And who better to present these things than you? Who better to listen to these things than you? And should you accumulate the knowledge that is given this day, perhaps you, as the advanced one, the light worker, the old soul, would be then able to tell others in a succinct fashion about what you've learned. And so this is the kind of group, dear ones, that would elicit this kind of information. For as I've said before, Spirit through Kryon is going to give information that suits the moment for the ones who are before me. And so let me begin. Only 2 subjects we bring. Only 2. Quickly, but profoundly and different than you would expect. Let us talk about contracts. In a 3-dimensional world, you have developed a spiritual term, and you call it contract. Now, my partner today spoke about these things in the lecture time, but many who hear this now were not here. But I want to take it even further than that. And what he said was this: you cannot look at a 3-dimensional linear contract in a spiritual world, for it doesn't work. For you are learning to think in a more quantum way, that is to say, a way that is not 3D. A multi-dimensional attribute placed upon you and Spirit brings you to a place where you think differently, out of the logic you've been trained, All this to say that a contract is real. You come in with a yod, you come in with a purpose, you come in with something to accomplish. And you send a message to your three-dimensional self as you hear these things that says, I only have one. And it's my life's purpose. And nothing could be less linear. And it doesn't work that way. Kryon, would you please back up and give this to us in a way we can understand? Yes, I will. Let us state it clearly. There is no such thing as a lifelong contract. It cannot be this way. There are two things wrong with it. In a multidimensional state, it is always moving. In a multidimensional state, there is no singularity. Therefore, not only do you not have one contract for life, none of them are for life. In other words, you come in with multiples. Now, how can that be? I'll explain it now. And this is going to explain why some of you are so confused. If you are an old soul, let us talk about who you've been. Let us take one of you in the room who may be an orator, who may be an author. How many things have you excelled at in 1,000 lifetimes? Perhaps you're a woodworker, an artist, a musician, a sculptor, among other things. Not to mention the mother you've been sometimes, sir. And all of those things are in the soup of the now. And in you come on the planet, and as you develop as a child, your passions are all over the place. What are you going to do? And can you tell me at that point in time you're going to pick one and say, well, that's my contract? But you do. Because someone along the line told you in a question, what are you going to do with your life? And implied in that is, what one single thing are you going to do that's going to establish you? And that's the way you think, don't you? When you meet somebody for the first time and you're getting acquainted, they ask you this. They say, and what do you do? Isn't that interesting? How many human beings have you ever met for the first time and they would ask, and what have you done? How many things are you into? There's an assumption that you're singular. You do one thing and that's what your interest is. Oh, how 3D of you. And here's what I'm telling you. Multiple contracts lay upon you constantly, and they're only good for the time you want to do them. What if you should have an epiphany in your life and raise your vibration? There are those in the room who have had that. In fact, you can probably even tell me when it was. I know who's here. An epiphany in your life which had have caused you to think differently, to raise your vibration, and now you are someone else. You can even look back at who you used to be and go, I'm not that person anymore. Do you think for a moment that all of the things that laid upon you when you were in 20 years old, for instance, are now applicable still simply because there's only one thing to do? And the answer is, of course not. Well, then why are you still thinking you've got one contract? Is it possible you change them? And you do. Every single day, you have the opportunity of choosing any one of dozens of purposes you might have for yourself. And your frustration is because you lay there in a three-dimensional place, confused because you don't know which one is right. What if they're all right? And if you start to understand that they could be, I would say you are starting to step into that multidimensional place where God resides. And the divinity in you is starting to show itself as you have an understanding. What shall I be this year? Shall I write the book that's always been there, even though I don't think I'm an author? Shall I stand in front of people and teach, even though I'm not an orator? Well, yes, you are, and yes, you are. Your passion can change from time to time, depending upon the energy of the crystalline grid. Where you're living, did you hear that? And who you think you are. Don't be surprised if as your self-worth increases and you work on yourself, your passion will change for what you think you want to do. And what is it that's going on there, dear one? You have just elevated yourself, brought forward things in your Akash, married yourself to different concepts that are multidimensional. And then there are those around you who go, look at that person who can't make up their mind what they want to do. And Spirit looks at you and say, blessed is the human who knows they can do many things. There is no such thing as a contract. There's only the various passions you come in with. And you're going to notice something about most of them help other people. It's the compassion factor. What is it that you can do which is compassionate? Can you write a song and give it to another person? And what will be their reaction if you do? Their heart might melt. When Beethoven wrote Ode to Joy, do you think that he foresaw millions of hearts that melt? I doubt it. But that was his contract of the day. Is there poetry in you? Is there compassionate thought? Can you create a sculpture? And you might say, no, that's not for me. I don't do any of those things. I'm not good with my hands. Yes, but you might be good with your heart. When somebody comes to you at work and wants to share something with you, are there words you can give them that would melt their heart? And that might be your contract for the day. Blessed is the human being who understands that the compassion they have in them is the true contract of God. And what they do with that in any direction, pulling upon their Akash or not, is what they're supposed to do. And that's number one. Don't decide you failed because you can't find one thing you're good at. Because as an old soul, you might be good at 50 things, really good at them. Really good at them. And you might start changing what you do every day. And the humans around you will think you're wishy-washy because you can't get a grasp on 3 dimensions. And you can just smile and know they're right. Because you have decided to take on the attributes of a compassionate God. I don't understand, you might say, these kinds of things, Kryon, because they're a little tough to conceive of. You had trouble with that one? Wait till you hear this one. You are advanced enough, dear ones, to listen to this. So I can plant the seeds of truth that are so bizarre to you that you may not believe it, understand how it could possibly be, work with it, because it's not in your reality, but eventually you'll know. And here it is. Let us start with the simplicity of God. That's a dichotomous statement. Do you have any trouble praying to God when you know somebody else is also? In your world, if you were going to talk to someone, including a spiritual leader, you'd take turns, wouldn't you? If somebody's talking to them, you wait in line, don't you? Do you do that with God? No. Why? And the answer is because you know God can hear multiple messages at the same time. Do you have any trouble with being in one part of the world or another part of the world or traveling from one to another and speaking to Spirit? No. What do you know about Spirit? Spirit will be in all places at once. Really? What does that tell you about Spirit? God is omnipresent. God is always with you. Spirit knows every heart, every mind. This is your mantra. I'm not giving you information you don't know. But have you ever analyzed what it might mean? It might mean that God is quantum. Outside of your reality and a quantum state, God can be everywhere at the same time, entangled with you forever. No time, no space, no distance, no singularity. Everywhere, all the time. Now, follow the logic. What are you learning here on the planet? That God is in you. I gave you the information about the splendor in your DNA. That the higher self is represented. Angelic layers are there. That chemically you're alive with God. It's inside your corporeal attributes. God is in you. Not just spiritually, but chemically. You are imbued with the divine attributes of a creator. And there you sit thinking you're singular. And you're not. Therefore, as my partner brought up today, many of you don't understand you yourself, your name goes here, are multiple. Beyond your wildest dreams. And what I'm going to tell you next, you will not understand because you have a clock. And it's a singular one. And this is going to be tough. I'm going to talk about the agreement, not the contract. The agreement to a system of love. And some of you are going to relate to this. It's beautiful. It's beyond beautiful. The system of love. I've spoken about this one other time. A system of love, and it has to do with family. This is not about chemistry. This is about the attributes of the love of a compassionate God who is inside you, who honors those who are in sorrow because they don't know the truth. Now go slow, my partner, for you're receiving a great deal of information all at once, and I can tell you're struggling to know where to begin. If you have a circle presented, And the circle has a message that is complete and total as a circle. If you take it apart and begin anywhere in the circle, that means you leave out the rest. And that is the struggle my partner has right now, because I am trying to give him a place to start. You have an agreement that in death, only part of you leaves, the corporeal part. Part of you remains on the planet, and it doesn't go to the crystalline grid. It goes to your Akashic relatives. That's a good start, my partner.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Right. Let us again relax into the space we all created together in this beautiful day here in Sedona, Arizona, on this beautiful earth, in this beautiful solar system, in this vast, amazing galaxy, part of billions of other galaxies in this universe that is part of a much even larger scale multiverse, cosmic space. We don't even have a name for it, but we know it's within each and every one of us. So take a deep breath. Allow yourself to drop again into that beautiful space we call our hearts, that connects us with all that is, with the I am that I am. Breathe and allow yourself to love yourself even more. Allow yourself to love yourself truly, deeply, multidimensionally, energetically, even more. How much more you can allow yourself to love yourself. Take another breath. As you open more into your own magnificence, into your own divinity, into your own light, into your beauty and joy, into the pure infinite of your soul, into the beingness, the grand, immense being that you truly are, experiencing here just a fraction, a moment in time on earth. Breathe. How much more of that you can bring right now into this space. There is truly no limit to how much you can experience in every moment. It's all in the allowance, it's all in the beingness, in feeling the oneness of all that is. Breathe. Feel your energy, feel your Merkava expanding, coalescing with all the other Merkabas in this room. Allow the language of multidimensionality to talk to the other Merkabas in this room. And they talk to you, and they talk beyond this room, and they talk to this city and beyond this city. And they talk to the entire earth. Feel the vibration, the frequencies, the resonance, the waves of light expanding, vibrating in the field of all that is. of infinite potentials. How much more of that you can allow yourself to feel is all in you. Breathe. Allow yourself to open up even more. Creating a stronger connectedness to your being, to your soul, that creates a stronger connection between all of us here and beyond. A stronger coherence, a stronger field of love, of energy, beyond words. It's all in the feeling. It's all in the light. In a space that has no beginning and no end. No beginning and no end. Breathe. And repeat after me as we open up to this trio channel, as we're about to receive the energies and the messages and the love from the Star Mothers and Meliha, from Peggy, Phoenix, Subro, Anya and the Divine Feminine, and through Lee, the love, wisdom of Kryon. Repeat after me. I am magnificent. I was born magnificent. I carry the light of the Creator within me. And I am dearly loved by God. Again, I am magnificent. I was born magnificent. I carry the light of the Creator within me. And I am dearly loved by God. And one last time. I am magnificent. I was born magnificent. I carry the light of the Creator within me. And I am dearly, dearly, dearly loved by God.
Dear Shining Ones, we step forward in benevolence and in love, sending before us waves of love from our home in the Pleiades. For we are the Star Mothers, the teachers of the new humanity, the mothers of the new humanity and the new consciousness. As we pour our love through these words, we ask you this. Can you, will you receive it? Can you, will you open your hearts and your minds to receive what is limitless, boundless, and your birthright as divine humans with Pleiadian, Lemurian DNA. And yes, all of you in this sacred circle right now are related to someone who's related to, who is related to the first generation of Pleiadian Lemurians. So you are indeed all family together at this time. And though you may think you came here for a beautiful seminar and a fun vacation, you are doing the work of the world right now. Your energy together. If you could see it as we do above this building, spinning in a morphic field, that beautiful morphic field of purpose and love, and the divine energy of balance that we as mothers, star mothers, have brought to your awareness at this time to recreate balance on this planet, to birth once again in a completely different way than we did in Lemuria, but to birth the new humanity. For the children that are born now, for the teenagers, for the adults, for the seniors, are all part of this new humanity. And you are our children. We call you our shining ones because in each of you there is a spark. That original spark, that beautiful seed spark that makes you shine in our eyes. We know the words star seed have been around for quite a while, many years in your time. But now that you know that a part of a star mother is seated inside of you, beloved ones, there's your answer. Yes, star seeds. Here, now, the shift in time, the shift in consciousness, the awakening. It will be called many things in your history. You'll be back to see that as well and participate. And your participation will be on the backs of the consciousness that you're creating today. You will become, once again, your own ancestor with the wisdom that you've gained during this time. And you will know how to honor yourself as divine humans, how to honor the shift that the divine feminine is now creating on the planet, how the divine masculine is waking up and seeing what the divine feminine has to offer, and bring into balance those two beautiful aspects. Take a breath with me, please. We know we give you much information. And each time that breath comes through you, some of that information integrates. So that is why we pause and say, take a breath. Today, those of you that are here, and those of you that will listen to this in the future, are part of a new awareness. The awareness of this star seed that you are. Where does that live inside of you? For each of you, it might be different at different times also. But when you keep coming back to the sacredness of your own star seed consciousness, that is where the magic is. The sacredness of star seed consciousness. And all you need to do is remember. Sometimes the hardest thing to do, isn't it? We know you call it the amnesia of our human life. You forget. You work with your minds. More goes on there than anything. Now we ask you, with that breath, to come back into the awareness of your divinity and begin to bring that beautiful, soft, sacred, magnificent balance into who you are, whatever your gender, whatever your age, whatever your beliefs. Balance is the key for guiding this new consciousness, each of your consciousness, and the new consciousness of humanity into the future. Remember, your thoughts, your words are magic. They create your future. And you always have a choice for what you create. If you would bring your hand to your human heart right now, beloved ones, take a breath. And repeat this 3 times. I am sacred. I am sacred. I am sacred. Take another breath. How does that feel? Can you embody that? Is it just words, or can you believe it? We are reaching inside your hearts right now. We are doing heart surgery on you today to open your beautiful hearts, to heal the wounds that have been here in them, perhaps for lifetimes. So now we'd like you to say this again, but say it just to yourself, like a whispered prayer. I am sacred. I am sacred. I am sacred. I am sacred. And hold that inside of you. Hold it under your hand. Let it circulate around your beautiful heart, your physical and your spiritual heart. Feel us in there with you. You are our beloved children. We see you as perfect. And we are always, always available to you. You only need to ask. And we will step in to the sacred circle of your life. Take another breath and gently release your hands. Feel the warmth on your heart center and know that you are never alone. We are always available with you in consciousness and in physicality. And for now, we are honored to have this time with you, and we step back to the outside of the circle and become the holders of the sacred space. We step back.
I am Anya, here in the time of the Great Evolution, initiator of the Universal Calibration Lattice, and transmitter of the templates of light and energy, reminding you you are greatly loved, inviting you to love greatly. In this time, in the energy of infinite love, we ask you to affirm, I remember I am. I remember I am. In the energy of infinite love, I remember I am. Each one of you is invited to become stronger conduits and channels of this energy of love that has no beginning and no end. It is time for the transformation for self and the planet and the collective. And you are part of that. It is an exciting time. Can you feel the promise of what you made before you came here? There was a promise, and you said yes. You said, yes, I will come, I will take part, I will channel this energy, and I will become more of who I am. How does that feel? Do the cells of your body smile when you contemplate this potential? For it is who you truly are. And you will understand this perspective of the energy of your wholeness and your holiness through many different words, many different ways of understanding. What's most important is to feel it, sense it, become it. Can you? Yes, you are. Beautifully done. We encourage each one of you to know that each one of you has a piece of the puzzle of this reality. We encourage each one of you to know the magnificent event is to learn to bring together your pieces of the puzzle for what you have to give. For as you do, you open up new levels of reality. The more harmony, the more connected, the more present you are with one another, you actually unlock new frequencies of energies that you could not do before by yourself. It is the time of unique and united. The journey has been one for thousands of years that was singular. It is no longer the alone person. It is each one of us together. Does that feel right to you? Can you celebrate your own brilliance and the brilliance of the people all around you? The more you do that, the stronger you become in the energetic consciousness of unique and united. That opens up the new ways of being, the new ways of seeing, of knowing the new ways of when to do and when to be still. Are you ready for this? Indeed. Each one of you. From the wisdom of the feminine divine and in honor of the wisdom of the masculine divine, once again we remind you the energy of infinite love. Together let us affirm, in the energy of infinite love, I am alive, I am electrical, I am transformative. Indeed. Once again reminding you, you are greatly loved, inviting you to truly love greatly. And hear this. Together let us affirm in this moment, in these energies, in the frequencies co-created throughout this day. Together let us affirm, all is well. All is well. All is well. Well done, everyone.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. It's never a mystery to Spirit. Who is listening? Who is here? In this case, who sits in the chairs? There's always been this idea that that which you call God, Spirit, Creator, is in another room. And you are in a lower room. There's always been this idea that you reach out to try to touch that which is the face of God. And if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, God will look your way. This is the story, the narrative of most of the planet. And today you are here knowing better. Spirit knows of you, your name, why you sit here, what you might be going through, what you might be cognizing right now, the aha, perhaps, that is even occurring. So many times, the question has been asked, how does God see us? And I want to reaffirm that right now. I would love you to wipe away for just a moment all the reality, all the things of the earth. And picture for a moment that you are in a multidimensional state, you might say, and you're about to have a child. Men, you have also been women in this room. Women, you've also been men in this room. This room is filled with old souls who have shared all things on this planet and all genders. You've all given birth. Wipe away that which you consider inappropriate for an earthling to say, you might say, and become multidimensional just for a moment. And picture this. You're going to give birth to a child, and that child is going to be so special because that child is made in your image, just as it happened here. And imagine for that moment that you're going to release that child through the wind of birth onto a planet called Earth. And the last thing you're going to say to that entity as it passes through that area is you're going to look in the eyes and say, "Find me. Find me." And when you do, you'll know the connection we have. And when that child of yours begins to awaken, if they do, and ask the questions, if they do, and that child actually starts studying and asking, where'd I come from? Is there a creator? And is the creator, as I've told, in the other room? Or might it be in me? Because I feel it in me. And then that child begins to push against the culture and everything they've been told. And starts to realize that there is something bigger. It's hiding. And they reach out. God, if you're there, show me. And you've waited a long time, Mom, in this story. And you start to realize that the child is finding you. Stop everything. Question. How do you feel? How do you feel? Would there be tears in your eyes? Would you reach out to the child and say, thank you for understanding more than you can understand, understanding the puzzle, understanding the whys. Perhaps you don't, but you found me. And it's that point in time when you say, now that you find me, let's go together, take my hand, let's get something done. That's how God feels about you. Is it possible that this arrangement, if you want to call it, is the truth? It is the greatest truth on the planet, the one that hides. From the wind of birth. You are known by name from the moment you were released from the wind of birth, and have been looked at and watched and loved, waiting to find the truth. There are those who say it's so dark. Kryon, it's so dark in these times. I'm having trouble with. Sometimes it seems like the light escapes. I want to give you a formula. I want to tell you a little bit more about light and dark, but the formula is for light. It's easy. I'll give it to you in a moment. Light and dark are unusual. They're unusual in that there's a dynamic that people don't even think about. You're used to light and dark being like elements that move around. It's not really so at all. If you're in a room, has no windows, and there's no lights turned on, what do you have? And the answer is darkness. In other words, on this planet, right now, the status quo is a dark room. So dark is not active. It's not created. It just is because it's the absence of light. So when light occurs, the darkness starts to diminish until the light is bright enough for there to be no darkness. So that doesn't give credibility, does it, to darkness being active and fighting with the light? And yet it seems that way. I want to give you a reminder. Is that when you turn off the light, darkness doesn't come in. It was always there. Did you get that? You turn off the light, you get what was always there. It doesn't creep in. And so the answer is to carry this light on this planet, which is filled with darkness still, in a way that it never goes out. Ever. It won't go out when you sleep, dear ones, because you're protected. Honest. That's part of the issue. That's part of the plan. That's part of all the things that you learn here. That there are those encompassing you, old soul, all the time to keep darkness away from you if that's your choice. To show you the way if that's your choice, if you've asked for that. But I have a formula. There is one thing that will not allow darkness in your life, ever. And it's not the study of Kryon. It's not the study of God. It's not listening to channels. It isn't even all that spiritual. But it is. And the answer is joy. Joy chases away the darkness. Period. If you can remain joyful in your waking hours and concentrate on this which is joyful in your life, the lights will never go out. How does that feel? And that, my friends, is the answer to finding God. If your hand is outstretched right now that says, I want to know you. I got it. I want to know you. I want you to be ready for a hand to come down and say, thank you. I found you finally. That's the truth. That's the truth. I am crying in love with humanity. And so it is.